you. Good morning. Well, I'm, as you know, Clair Hobbs, and I've come this morning just to give you a 10-minute overview of the role of the Family and Community Manager. My presentation will be in two halves. The first half will be to define for you integrated provision, and the second half will be to identify the impact on outcomes that integrated working can achieve. And the second half of the presentation I'm going to do for you in two parts. Firstly, I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the evidence from the research that's written up. And secondly, I'm going to read for you the words of one mother, so giving you the direct experience of one family and the impact that integrated working had on them. So, for you then firstly, my own definition of integrated provision is a preschool setting which provides integrated nursery education along with childcare, registered with Ofsted and operating within the statutory framework of the early years foundation stage. The concept of integrated provision for me, though, also incorporates three other elements. Firstly, integrated provision is inclusive. So, in other words, for me, that means children with special needs are also offered the same range of service as children who do not have additional needs. Secondly, for me, integrated provision is focused on partnerships. So, in other words, partnerships between the centre and parents, partnership between the integrated provision team and other childcare providers. Could be childminders, could be grandparents, for example, that look after that child. Thirdly, integrated provision also very much relies on the use of integrated working as a process, and very much again relies on the use between the team members of a common language. So, now we're going to do a very brief exercise, and I mean by this I'm going to hand you each a yellow sheet and a pen. On each yellow sheet are two words. Supervision is. I'd like you to write a brief definition, thinking of your background and experience. How would your colleagues define the word supervision? I'm going to leave you 30 seconds to do this, and then we'll have a very brief feedback. Okay, so thank you.
I've actually done it, what was I meant to do?
So just very briefly, going back to the idea that working within an integrated provision setting relies on use of a common language, we have a couple of examples you've kindly given. One of those, supervision is guidance by an expert. Supervision can also mean, and these are a range of people I spoke with earlier. For example, if you come from a clinical psychology background, you may well think of supervision in terms of reflection on client cases. You may well use it as an opportunity to offload stress. However, for a call centre worker, for example, you may well think of supervision as being what your supervisor does for you. In other words, it's to do with management, being managed. And I really just use this slide and this little exercise to emphasise how important the use and understanding of common language is for the members of the integrated team and used in integrated working. So, thank you for that, and we're going to move on now to the second part of the presentation, which is to identify for you the impact on outcomes for families that integrated working can achieve. And to do this, I've just given you really a brief overview of some of the outcomes identified in the documents supporting integrated working. As you can see, 2 recent reports do highlight that, for example, integrated working can have the impact of allowing parents to get more enjoyment with their children, obviously minimising time spent at appointments, etc. But I'm going to focus today on just giving you one family's story to illustrate the impact of integrated working and the effect that could have on a family. And just to outline for you some of the background with this family, the story is told by a mother of 2 boys. She is recalling the family's experience when their youngest son was diagnosed as being profoundly autistic. And I'm going to use her words really just to give you a flavour of the positive impact that this process has had on their family. Prior to having her second baby, she actually worked herself as special needs coordinator in a primary school. And just before this story starts with her words, I'm just going to mention that when the youngest boy was 18 months, she and her health visitor decided that the little boy needed a fuller assessment of his development. So her words now take place after the health visitor had done a comprehensive development check when he was 1.5 years old. The mother explains, "The next few months were a complete roller coaster. I forget how many people we met and how many times we had to repeat family history." The little boy then goes on to be assessed. He gets offered 2 mornings a week at the children's centre in their nursery provision. She then says, "We were linked then to a care coordination scheme at the children's centre. We had been pleased with the support that Adam was receiving from all the different but separate agencies, but we felt the support would be far more effective if everyone met together." She ends her story with, "Since this time, I feel that everyone has bent over backwards to coordinate the support and focus on our needs. I am no longer phoning round to organise things. It all just happens now, as if by magic." So, I'd like to end this presentation this morning with just one brief comment that I hope that I will be able to contribute to the integrated working that happens here at the Children's Centre in Kenilworth in order to achieve the positive impacts for children here under 5 and their families in Kenilworth.
Thank you. So Claire, how was that? How did that go?